Hi again, this is Genevieve from the blog GracefullyHome.com, and today I'm sharing our simple fall farmhouse tour over at Holly's Livin' It Country channel. This year I wasn't sure if I was actually going to be able to share this simple farmhouse tour because we were really sick. We came back from California visiting my side of the family for 2 weeks, and then we came back and had like a full week of just bed rest. And so I still kind of sound a little weird, but I'm probably about 98% back to normal. But things here in the Hollow made it really easy for me to just pull the whole fall farmhouse charm together, and I want to share that with you today. For those of you who are new to our channel and our blog, there are some things that I really love to do all year round. That is, when I want to change something up, I go around and I shop our farmhouse first. I love being able to collect things that have a history to them and they weren't just made like in a big factory, which maybe some of these were back in the early 1900s or something like that. A lot of them were handmade, and you know, they have so much charm and they bring so much more interest into a room. And so during this tour, you'll see a lot of like combinations and collected items. Some of the items in our farmhouse were found at thrift shops and auction houses, yard sales, and then also Facebook Marketplace. But we do have some special pieces that my dad built as well as my husband. And then we also have some pieces that were handed down from my husband's side of the family. So as you can imagine, there are some really treasured pieces here in our farmhouse. And I love being able to just mix those together and make our home really cozy for our family and friends. Here in the living room, I kept it really simple because this is the original room to our farmhouse, and it was built probably around 1930 is what we have been getting from the locals that have been here the longest. It's one of the oldest buildings that is still standing in this valley. We demoed it and just kind of built it back up. It was really awesome seeing the type of material that they used back then because it had all hardwood studs. We also found out that there was like another door, like the actual door was over here. And so it was really neat just kind of going back in time and seeing what this room might have been like back in the day. And so obviously it has been added on to over the years, which we love. We have a bigger family, so it's nice and roomy for us. But I don't do a whole bunch in here because I think that it is already charming. So what I do put in here, it has to have form and function because it is such a small room. So I do like bringing in baskets, not just in the fall, but all year round. And I love being able to put like crafts or sewing supplies in these baskets here. And then I also like hanging baskets. So I used one of the hanging baskets and added some dried hydrangeas from our hydrangea bush, some little antlers, and then a blue and white plate that I collected over the years. When you come into our farmhouse from the front side, you kind of come right into this room. I didn't do a whole bunch in here. I basically just brought in some fresh flowers from the garden. I added some of the pumpkins that I grew this year. And then I also changed out some of our white candles for our homemade beeswax candles because it brings a little more of that fall color into the room. This is one of my favorite pieces. It's been in my husband's family for 5 generations. All we know is it must have been built prior to 1862 because that's when my husband's great-great-great-great-great-grandfather acquired it when he married his wife. And so it was built by the wife's father. And so it's really special. It came to my father-in-law from his parents, and it used to be painted green, and he stripped it down and he refinished it, and he put the time and effort into making it look like it does now. And it is really a sturdy piece, and I love having it in our living room. I also added these vintage prints that I found. It was a set, and I forget how much it cost, probably about between $10 to $20 for the set. I get a really good deal at our local auction house. I love going there on a weekly basis. You just never know what you're gonna find. And that's kind of one of the things that I like to do with thrifting and antiquing, is just kind of going often, even knowing that I'm not going to find something, but then having a wish list in my head, the things that I'm looking for our farmhouse. And that way, if I see it, I can easily go get it. Or I can save up for it, or maybe haggle with the owner, and they're really good about working with me. Right off our living room is our dining room and our kitchen, and it is basically an eat-in kitchen. And so I didn't really do a whole bunch in there. I typically don't unless we're going to have a birthday party or something like that. And for the seasons, I will do a little bit of like a tablescape, but I don't go all out. All I did really was I found a Pepsi crate, and since we don't drink soda and we don't drink Pepsi, I thought I would just try to paint it or maybe whitewash it a little bit and help it pop on the very dark tabletop. And then I just added some hydrangeas from our hydrangea bush, and I just placed them in our pickle jars that I used for our apple cider vinegar that I was fermenting. And then I just added some candles and some candlesticks, and then a little stack of our blue and white dishes. And that's a great way to not spend a lot of money, but then also have a very welcoming table for family and guests when they come to visit. I have to really be very mindful of what I put in our kitchen, because although we have a very large island, it can get full very quickly with our harvest, with things that we're fermenting, things that we're cutting, chopping, whatever. So I only put certain things on the walls, and I change them out during the seasons. One of the things that we really appreciate from the previous owners is that they used a lot of materials that came from off the property or close by the property. In our family room, we have several things that were kind of collected over the years. And one of the things were these hand-hewn beams that they salvaged from a local 1840s log cabin, which is the same age as our log cabin on our property. They used some bricks that looked a lot like the original bricks that were on our log cabin. So there are a lot of really nice features, especially in our family room, where it just kind of brings out that really rustic and cozy charm. I added some oil lamps that we normally have, and we actually use, because we do lose power here in the hollow regularly when there's like a storm, or if there's a tree that falls or whatever. Sometimes it's just the wind, but we are always prepared with our oil lamps and our candles and our flashlights. In our bedroom, all I did was swap some bedding from our 1840s log cabin and added some fresh wildflowers from outside. I also added a few of my leftover pumpkins from the garden. Something that's unique about our bedroom is that there is an exposed portion of our chimney. And the previous owners, they had framed it out and then they put a little metal cover on the hole, and the cover is like a scene of like a farm, and it's harvest time and they are stacking up the wheat, and I thought that was kind of really a nice little rustic touch. On our front porch, I just basically gave it a quick clean. I swept some, I wiped some of the windows. I just added some pumpkins that I found at a local shop. One of the things that I love to do with decorating our farmhouse is just using natural elements that are all around our farm. And that makes it a lot easier and less stressful to make our home really cozy for the different seasons. Well, I really appreciate you taking our simple fall farmhouse tour. And thank you to Holly for hosting and sharing our farmhouse with her viewers. If you're new to our channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and following along for more inspiration for holistic living through back to basics for the home, heart, and health. See you next time in the Hollow.